Hi everyone, Archive here, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at everyone's favourite nature-loving shape-shifting class, the Druid. Like usual, we'll be going over the class features and what are some of the best racial choices, and of course, what subclass you have to pick from. We'll also be going over some of the roles that the Druid can fulfill within your party. But first, like always, I just wanted to say a quick thank you for all of you taking the time to watch, and just a little reminder for you to help me out by hitting the like button and consider subscribing, as it really does help a small channel like mine to grow. Now with that shameless self-promotion, let's move on to the video. Hey look, it's bear. It's bear. It's bear. It's bear. Oh no, it's bear. I said, what are you looking at? Stupid tourists. Oh man, see that? Transform. He flew. It's an eagle now. The Druid holds nature above all else and are perfectly in tune with the natural order of all living things around them, and share a deep connection with animals. Because of this, they generally get their powers from the forces of nature or even a nature deity. They are fierce and furious warriors who have many playstyles, making them a very versatile companion to have around. Some playstyles include becoming an all-powerful spellcaster and taking control of the elements, or you can opt to go to the front line and help out your barbarian by soaking up some of the hits, with arguably one of the druid's best abilities, Wild Shape. This ability gives you amazing staying power in battle for reasons I'll explain later. When thinking of characters in pop culture that could be your next inspiration for your next druid build, you could look at characters like Beast Boy from Teen Titans, or even Poison Ivy from the Batman's Rogue Gallery, or yes, even Elsa from Disney's Frozen. I know, just let it go. In early access, we have two of the Druid subclasses, also known as Circles, these being the Circle of the Moon and Circle of the Land, although you don't get to pick these until you reach level 2. At the start of the game, your Druid will start with a 1d8, which is not amazing by any standards, but when you compare it to other spellcasters like the Wizard or the Sorcerer that only start with a 1d6, it's not actually that bad. After that, each level you gain, you will roll a 1d8 and add your Constitution modifier, and then add the total to your current hit points. The Druid is proficient in light and medium armor, and with shields. For weapons, they are proficient in clubs, daggers, javelins, maces, quarterstaffs, scimitars, sickles, and spears. They are also proficient in the wisdom and intelligence saving throws. The Druid also gets to choose 2 additional proficiencies from the list shown. Like I mentioned earlier, the Druid is a very versatile class that can fulfill a variety of roles in an adventuring party. Need some heals? Don't worry, the Druid's got you. Need a frontliner? No worries, the Druid's got you. Oh no, we need a big spell to turn this battle around. Never fear, the Druid is here. Because of this, there is no ideal set of ability scores for them. However, there are certain ability scores that are more important for the Druid than others, depending on how you want to play the class. With that said, when building your Druid, your focus should be on Wisdom. Wisdom is the most important ability score for the Druid, as it determines their spellcasting ability and how many spells they can cast per day. Constitution is also important for the ability scores for a Druid, as it helps determine their hit points and how well they withstand physical damage. A high Constitution score will help give the Druid bonuses to their saving throws, which will help resist certain magical effects, poisons, diseases, and other things just like that. Will also help with maintaining concentration on certain spells you cast later down the line. Other important ability scores for the Druid may include Strength, Dexterity, or Charisma, just depending on how you want to play the class. Strength is important for a Druid who wants to be more physical in combat, whilst Dexterity is more important for a Druid who wants to be more agile and avoid being hit. Charisma is more important for a Druid who wants to be more persuasive and charismatic, and can also be useful for the Druid who wants to use Wild Shape ability to transform into certain kinds of animals later down the line. Let's move on to what race best suits the Druid. But first, like always, I just want to give a quick disclaimer and say there's no real right or wrong race to pick, and that you should just pick what makes the most sense to your character you're planning on building. But with that said, there is always the ones that will give your character a better starting point. The first one to consider is the Elf, especially when you consider the subrace Wood Elf, as this will give you an increase to your base speed and a +2 to dexterity and a +1 to wisdom. You also gain Mask of the Wild. This gives you proficiency in stealth. You also get proficiency in perception due to the elf's keen sense ability. Fey Ancestry is also another useful ability to have, as it gives you advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and more notably, magic effects can't put you to sleep. You also gain Dark Vision. This allows you to see up to 12 feet in dim light. But alongside all of this, due to picking the elf class, you become proficient in long swords, short swords, longbows and short bows. The dwarf is a good alternative choice, as it gives you a +2 to constitution and several useful racial features. One of these features being dwarven resilience, which grants advantage on saving throws against being poisoned, and gives you resistance to poison damage. In addition, dwarves are proficient in the use of battle axes, hand axes, light hammers and war hammers, and let's not forget they also get dark vision. If you choose the gold dwarf subrace, you will receive a +1 bonus to wisdom. Another racial trait you will receive is Dwarven Toughness, which increases your maximum hit points by 1 and by an additional 1 for every level you gain. Additionally, the Golden Dwarf has an increased movement speed. Let's move on to levels 1 through 5, as this is what levels we can reach in Baldur's Gate 3 at time of recording in early access. At level 1, a druid can choose 2 skills from a list of options that are related to their role as defenders of nature. These include animal handling, insight, medicine, nature, perception and survival. Druid also gain the ability to cast spells. At level 1 they gain access to 2 known cantrips and 2 first level spell slots. These spells can be used to cast a variety of spells from the druid spell list. At level 2 the druid gets the most iconic ability, Wild Shape. Wild Shape allows you to magically take the form of any beasts, and at higher levels even elementals. You are able to perform this action twice, after which you will need either a short or long rest to reset this. In D&D 5th edition, you are able to take the form of creatures you have encountered before, but with some limitations. An example of this is you're not able to transform into creatures that can fly at low levels. But as for Baldur's Gate 3, as of now, Larian Studios have provided us with a handful of creatures we are able to transform into, with more to follow on full release. It is also important to note that when you are transformed you will not be able to use any spells, but you are able to maintain concentration on spells that you have cast prior to changing. Another thing I need to mention is the HP aspect of Wild Shape. If you are to transform into a creature, you take their health pool, meaning for example, if your druid has 10 HP and you transform into a bear, after using the bear's HP pool you will come out of the bear form with your 10 HP intact. But there are exceptions to this. If your bear form has 5 HP left and you take 10 damage, the bear form will soak up 5 HP and the rest will carry over to your original form, leaving your druid with 5 HP. Now there's a lot more that could be said here, but for now I'm just going to move on, as I don't want this video just to come all about Wild Shape, as cool as it is. Level 2 also comes with your first big choice, and that is what circle to choose from, the Circle of the Land or the Circle of the Moon. The Circle of Land is a group of druids who are attuned to the magics of the natural world, and are able to draw upon the powers of the lands to cast spells and use special abilities. They are able to choose from a number of different types of lands, these being Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grasslands, mountains, swamp, or even the Underdark. Each type of land grants the druid different spells or abilities, such as speak with animals, or even the ability to control the elements. You also gain an additional druid cantrip. When you choose this circle, you also gain the ability Natural Recovery. This allows you to regain spell slots. The Circle of the Moon is a group of druids who are able to take full control of the Wild Shape ability. This is done by allowing you to use the Wild Shape ability as a bonus action rather than an action. You are also able to use spell slots whilst transformed to regain 1d8 hit points, which will increase depending on what level spell slots that you use. You'll also gain an additional form, being the bear form. At level 3 you gain the ability to cast level 2 spells, and you also gain an additional first level spell slot. Not much really to say other than that about level 3. Like with all classes, at level 4 you get the option to either pick a feat or you can opt for the ability score improvement. Like with most classes, your best option is to go with putting 2 points into your main ability score, and for the druids this is wisdom, but the choice is yours. You also gain an extra cantrip known, as well as an extra level 2 spell slot. Level 5 is a powerful point, as this is when you unlock your 3rd level spells. Some of the spells you unlock include Daylight, Call Lightning, Sleet Storm, and there's a few more. And there we have it, the Druid class summed up from levels 1 through 5 If I missed anything major, feel free to leave a comment down below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to help me out by hitting the like button and consider subscribing. Now for the question of the day. Will you be playing a druid on day 1? And what subclass do you prefer? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next episode of Baldur's Gate 3. Bye.